everybody, this is Danny Cayocca from New Wing Studios in St. Petersburg, Florida, in the great US of A. Now, bear with me. This is my first screencast ever. I'm still working out all the bugs with the program as far as that is all concerned. But we're going to try to get through it together. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to use elastic audio to fix your drum performances, and this could be used with guitar, vocals, anything like that. I like it on drums the most, so I like it more than Beat Detective because Beat Detective tends to kind of do what it wants. This way you have a lot more control over what you're doing, and you can hear it as you're going. And it's really good for just getting things locked on, as long as it's not too out of the pocket. So let's get started. All right, first things first, you need to make sure that when you use elastic audio, especially on drums, you need to make sure that everything within the drums, everything that's going to move is grouped. Everything needs to be edited together. Otherwise, you're going to get, if you just concentrate and focus on the kick drum without moving anything else with it, one, you can cause a lot of phasing issues, and two, you're going to hear the kick, through the kick mic, and then you're going to hear the kick through the overhead or the room mic, and it's going to sound different, and it's obviously not what you want. Drums are one instrument, and they need to be treated as such. I'll cover how to group in a later video if you guys want. So I have everything grouped, all my drums and everything. There's my aux. That's what I'm using to talk to you with. First thing you need to do, okay. So you need to go to the elastic audio button there. Hit rhythmic. It'll change all of them. Hit Alt apostrophe and you can see everything change, but it's already done. So then you go over here where it says waveform, click warp. And when I zoom in, you can see that everything has little warp markers. Those are trigger points that it uses to figure out where the hits are and stuff. And those are really useful. Second thing you want to do after you have this done, you need to create markers at the beginning and at the end of your regions, just in case you make a mistake, the whole thing doesn't slide off on you. Because if that happens, then you're dealing with the time stretch thing where, if I didn't put this in marker and I stretch something over here, this region could end up way over here. And that would slow down everything and just make everything out of whack. So you don't want that. Okay, I'm going to let you listen to this track. It's not too bad, but it's not right on where we want it. We need it to lock. We need it to lock in with the guitars and everything like that. And especially if you're recording guitars after this process, it's always good to do this process before you record on top of these tracks. That way you can make sure everything's locked in. Unless you have a guitar player or a bass player that just plays the click incredibly, which I find is pretty rare these days. No offense. Okay, so I'll let you listen to the part that we're going to work with today, with the click. Just to let you know, those are my drum tracks that I did with my band Solidium, Soulidium, shameless plug, I know. But due to the time I had, this is the performance that we got. And so I'm going to go ahead and start editing that. So what we're going to do, this part's really focused on toms and kick. There's not really too much else going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the toms as my beginning points, the parts that I want to start editing, and then throw my kicks in last. I have audio before this, so I'm going to go ahead and set up another marker right here. Just right click it and add warp marker. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my tom. I'm going to add a warp marker, and it's important to do this every couple measures or so, just in case you mess up and you go to a track and you're trying to remember where that hit went or where it was supposed to go or whatever. So this is a good way to just keep things in order. So I'm in grid mode. You can do this in slip mode, but since this part needs to be right on, so I'm gonna go with the grid on this one. Sometimes you want that live drummer feel, and sometimes when I use this, I'll use the slip mode to actually intentionally pull something out a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a humanistic feel, so it don't sound machiny. So I'm just going to take this first warp marker and just scoot it over. I just scooted it over and it locked right in place. And then I'm going to go to my next tom hit, and I know it's supposed to be right there, so I just scooted over to this mark right here. Now these kick drums, they're pretty in, but I'm going to lock them into the 16th note grid. Okay, and I have a tom hit right here that I do with my other ones. I got a little flam, so I'm not worried about that. Just scoot that over. Now you notice as I did this, now you got all these little tick marks, and they're showing you where they're at on the grid. My audio is going to be, it's going to be right lined up with that grid. So I'm going to do this with pretty much all the toms and the kicks and all of that. So here we go. Let me just do this until I get to the other part. Now this is a 32nd note fill that I do with the kick. I only hit the toms once, so it's like a da-da-da-da-da-da sort of thing. So I just need to get these kick drums locked in on the 32nd note pattern. Okay, now it goes back to the 16th note pattern. Go ahead and get this. Okay, this is pretty monotonous stuff sometimes. It's a good job for like assistant engineers or something like that. It's pretty time consuming sometimes if you got a lot to do. Now you got to be careful. If I take this out of grid mode, I'll show you what happens if you overstretch something or understretch something. You get these red things. It basically is a warning saying, hey, you messed up. And it's not happy about it, basically. So this one I have a tom hit. I have a 16th note tom hit fill with the kick drum. So I'm going to go to that tom and I'm going to move that as well. I'm going to get these kicks in here. Okay. Just trying to see what I got going on here. Alright. These guys. Slide over, see. Problem with the one that I just did is it stretched it way too much. So I'm not going to focus so much on that one. Actually, I believe that might be a flam. Yes. Okay. So we're good. And it is important to listen as you're doing this, because sometimes you can overstretch something and it'll just sound really weird. It's mainly in the overheads and stuff is where you get the really weird sounds. So, okay, so just gonna continue with this. It's kind of locking everything in. It's pretty, pretty basic stuff. If you have experience using the grid. As you can see, some of these aren't too bad. Some of them are. I'll take full responsibility for that. And I like to add the warp marker where the source is being hit, because sometimes the warp markers won't be completely aligned with each other like this. If you notice, it found a peak on the snare drum that's a little bit different than the kick and the first couple toms and all that. So I like to go to the one where the source is. That's the one that you're going to hear the most. So I'm going to go ahead and put a marker there, a marker there. Okay. Now I'm getting to a couple snare hits here. It's my 32nd note split fill. I'm sorry. Now let's listen to what we have. Okay. I have a weird issue going on here, which is this one. So that's why it's important to listen to it. Sometimes you can skip over when all you see is a bunch of these lines and okay, let's take another listen. Okay, heard another blooper right here somewhere, which is this guy's a culprit. Okay, now what you want to do is you can save this just in case things don't work out for you. Go back, go to your rhythmic, or your elastic audio button, hit rendering processing. It's the way I like to do it. Now, again, to open the task manager, it's just Alt apostrophe. I don't know what it is on a Mac. I use PC, so. We just wait for this to do its thing. You always kind of need to watch what it's doing, because you don't want to get click happy and then, while it's still processing things and do other things, and you just don't want to accidentally lose some audio somewhere in the process. Next thing you do is go back to the button, hit none, disable elastic audio. It's going to ask you if you want to commit or revert. If you revert, everything you did will go away. If you commit, that's it, and it turns it into an audio file. So I'm going to commit it. Oh look, where'd all the audio go? Well, go back to the task manager. Now it's processing all the audio that we did. Okay, now that's done. So there you have it. Elastic audio to fix drum issues. If you have any questions, you can email us at newwing newwingrds@yahoo.com. That's newwingrds@yahoo.com. I will gladly answer any questions. If you have any comments or would like to see videos on anything specific, let me know, and I'll do my best to do it. Thanks for watching.